Once upon a time, there was a man named Jack who moved to a small town called West Hollow. It was quiet, too quiet, some might say, the kind of town where the streets were wide and empty, and the buildings seemed frozen in time, as if nothing had changed in decades. Jack had heard stories of how peaceful the town was, how everyone knew each other and looked out for one another. It was just the kind of place he thought he needed after everything that had happened before. A fresh start, a place where no one would ask questions. When Jack arrived, he was greeted by Mrs. Dalton, a real estate agent who was almost too eager to make him feel at home. She had a warm smile that stretched too wide and a handshake that was too firm. She showed him around the small house he'd rented, assuring him that it was the perfect fit for someone like him. "You'll love it here," she said, leading him through the rooms. "Everyone is friendly. We all take care of each other." Jack didn't think much of it at the time. He was too focused on settling in, trying to find peace in the solitude. The first few days were spent unpacking, exploring the town, and meeting the neighbors. There was Mr. Jensen, the gruff shopkeeper who sold him eggs at the corner store, his smile lingering a little too long for comfort. Then there was Mrs. Harper, the elderly woman who lived down the street, always sitting on her porch and watching the world with sharp eyes. The children, too, were a strange sight. Quiet, always playing in the yards, but never laughing, never making any noise at all. Jack thought it was odd, but brushed it aside. After all, the town was quiet. Maybe that's just how people here were. But there was something else, something Jack couldn't shake. The town, as welcoming as it seemed, felt off. The people were too friendly, their smiles too wide. There was a stillness that lingered in the air, like the town itself was holding its breath, waiting for something. And then the invitations began. At first, they seemed innocent enough. A welcome to the neighborhood dinner at Mrs. Dalton's house. A few casual gatherings at the diner. But the more Jack asked about the Festival of the Hollow, the more everyone danced around it. They spoke of it with strange reverence. But when he pressed for details, they changed the subject quickly. Jack didn't think much of it at first. People were kind, even if a little too eager to include him. But the longer he stayed, the more he began to notice small things, details that didn't sit right. For one, the town felt like it was stuck in time. The streets, usually empty, were eerily silent. People would wave at him, but it always felt like they were waiting for him to wave back, as if there was something expected in return. And there were the eyes, always watching, curtains shifting as if someone was peeking through them, windows that looked empty one moment and full of watching shapes the next. It was unsettling. And then there were the whispers, low voices that would stop the moment Jack turned around. At first, he thought it was his imagination, but the longer he stayed, the more it became impossible to ignore. It felt like they were talking about him, but every time he approached, the whispers fell silent. One afternoon, Mrs. Dalton invited him to lunch. Jack decided to go, thinking it might give him a better sense of the town. When he arrived, Mrs. Dalton greeted him with that same wide smile and led him inside. The house smelled of something baking in the oven, and Jack was ushered to the dining table with little more than pleasantries. As they ate, Jack couldn't help but notice a photo on the wall. It was of Mrs. Dalton, smiling with a man Jack assumed was her late husband. But there was something about the photo that unsettled him. The man's eyes, dark and hollow, stared out from the picture. He looked wrong. There was something off about the way he was staring, like he wasn't really there at all. Mrs. Dalton noticed Jack's gaze and quickly changed the subject. "Oh, that's just my late husband," she said, her voice strangely soft, as if the mention of his name caused her some discomfort. "He loved this town, just like I do. I think you'll come to love it too." The conversation flowed for a while after that, but Jack couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Mrs. Dalton spoke about the town like it was alive, like it had a soul of its own, and everyone here was a part of it. Outsiders, she said, never understood the town's ways. When Jack asked for more details, she quickly changed the subject. There was a strange urgency to her words, a fire in her eyes that didn't quite match her warm demeanor. Jack didn't press her, not yet. But as he left, she smiled again. That same too-wide smile. "You'll come to the Festival of the Hollow, won't you? It's a real treat. You'll see what I mean when you do." To be continued. Wait for part 2.